It's a Hawaiian forgiveness practice, essentially, that was used with families originally in Hawaii to help mend hurt and disagreement. And it's 4 phrases that I love to bring in after breathwork, because once you do breathwork, your heart is really, really open. You can receive a lot more. And so I have people direct Ho'oponopono to themselves, sometimes to mom and dad, other people in their life. And it's 4 simple phrases. And the phrases are, I love you. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. And thank you. So we can extend that by, I love you so much, Jay. I'll have people use their name. And I'm so sorry I've been so hard on you. I'm so sorry that I'm judging you, right? All these things. I'm sorry that life has been so difficult. Please forgive me for not being there for you. Please forgive me for not loving you more. And thank you. Thank you for getting up every day and doing it again. Thank you for being so loving. And when we talk to ourselves and then also send it to others, it's like we're cleaning all the heavy energy little by little.
Welcome to the Good Life Coach podcast. I am your host, Michele Lamoureux. The intention of this show is to awaken you to your fullest potential. Join me each week for inspiring interviews to elevate an area of your life, as well as interviews with women entrepreneurs who are creating success on their own terms. Each episode provides actionable tips to guide you to design a life you love. Hey there, it's Michele. Welcome back to the show. Joining us today is Jay Bradley, who has spent over 30 years trying to feel better. He is, in fact, a breathing expert, and he has suffered from depression, chronic illness, and bullying at a young age. And he had a burning desire to overcome his challenges in order to thrive and find true purpose in his life. When he was invited to a small breathwork group in 2016, Jay knew from that moment that this was the miracle he had been searching for. Jay has since gone on to help thousands of people using the power of breathwork and other healing modalities to overcome challenges, move through resistance, and find true empowerment and joy. Jay is the founder of Breathe On It and the creator of ChakraBalms, as well as the author of Live, Look, Feel, the 12-week guide to live longer, look younger, and feel better. Welcome, Jay. So happy to have you on today.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here with you, Michele.
Yeah, we've covered breathwork a couple times on the show, but I discovered you through one of my other guests, Polly Alexander, and she had actually had you on her show. And I was like, I started following you on Instagram. And I think breathwork is such a powerful tool and one that is often not thought of as a way to heal. And I'm just going to read something that you wrote that I think is going to anchor our conversation. You said, what inspires me the most is when I can help somebody to speed up their transformation from pain to freedom, to resurrect their life, and to remember who they truly are. The essence of this show is that it's to remember who you are and to own it. And you said, my mission is to reconnect people with their inner power and purpose so they can get busy living the life that they deserve. We are aligned. That is at the heart of the show. So I'm very excited to have you share your knowledge today. And I'd love it. Tell us about how you got started in breathwork. I mean, you lead in your bio with talking about overcoming depression and chronic illness and bullying, which is traumatic. Take us into your story a bit and how you got started in breathwork.
Yes. Well, it's been a long journey. I'm 84 years old. And so I'm just kidding. It feels like I'm 84 sometimes, right? What comes first, right? This lack of self-worth. And then people bully you because they pick up on that energy, or, the bullying and all that stuff comes first. And then you develop this kind of, lack of sense of self. I'm not sure. But from as young as I can remember, I was always sick, even as a baby through childhood, allergies, asthma, earaches, even remembering like anxiety and all this other stuff mixed in with, cough medicine and other drugs that were trying to make me feel better. So it was just a real fog, I think. Yeah. And I just remember not wanting to get out of bed from a really young age, not wanting to do things. And then, the bullying probably started in kindergarten and went all the way through high school, small town Canada.
Early, Jay.
Really, really early. And I just remember like, what's wrong with me? Why, there was that question of, there must be something wrong with me because why are people picking on me? I was a gay kid growing up. I didn't really know that at that stage, but it's almost like everyone else knew, or there was something different about me. But also, as healers, as lights in the world, sometimes we are more open to attack because we're different, and people pick that up. So, and I didn't really have anybody to share that with, anybody to talk with. My parents, God bless them. They did their best, but there was not really open communication. And so a lot of shame, I think, is what I carried more than anything. And I know I work with a lot of women with breathwork in particular, and gay men, and there's a lot of shame that's held in the body. So I'm sure your listeners can start to resonate with that. But I knew from a young age, I would say around 20, my aunt handed me a self-help spiritual book. It was called Emmanuel's Book. It's a channeled book, kind of like Conversations with God, but the earlier version. And I just remember like eating that book up. And I really understood that I deserved to feel good. Right? Like, this is not how I'm supposed to feel, but I had no idea how to get there. So it just started with journaling, with spiritual books. I always had a book on the go, and then also really got into nutrition and fitness. I mean, I started working out at 13 in my garage. So
did that help you?
Well, it certainly helped with the exterior.
Right. But did it help your, I don't know, just even the endorphins that you get from working out? Did any of that help your sense of self? Yeah.
Sense of self. I think it did. Definitely.
Yeah.
Probably caused another problem, which was, let's put this shell on, right? The shell of being perfect.
And I'm going to have the perfect body and look perfect. And then you can't come at me.
Exactly.
I'll be acceptable. Yeah.
Exactly. And look, I'm still peeling those layers back. People are like, you should be more vulnerable, let your hair down.
Right.
So, we're always working on stuff, but I think this journey of health, body, mind, and spirit really was what it's all about, looking at all aspects, diet, food. It became a health and wellness coach, a fitness trainer, massage therapist, delved into becoming a Reiki master and hypnotherapist. So it's been a journey of looking at all aspects, going to therapy, seeing all types of healers over the years. I mean, I pretty much tried everything. And that's why when breathwork entered about 6 years ago at a small men's group, I couldn't even believe, what happened in one session. And for you, I think you've done breathwork, and some of your listeners probably have as well. It's profound. It can be really life-changing in one session. And it's almost hard to believe that one session can literally change your life. But I say that continually, that it's really powerful. So I knew from that moment, I think this is what I've been looking for,
Yeah.
And I kind of gave up everything else I was doing in health and wellness coaching and just really focused on breathwork, because I feel like we're all getting back to basics. Do you feel that way? Kind of like,
yes.
What's more basic than breath?
Yes.
It's like the original superfood, I say.
I love that. And I actually do agree. I think maybe that's why I'm drawn to like having these guests come, like you and the other two that have come on, talk about breath, because we need it to survive. Like, you can go without water for a certain amount of time and food, et cetera, but you can't not breathe. It's at the heart of like what keeps our bodies alive and moving. And yet we don't really think about it that much. And then, like you said, you went to this class and had a profound experience from it. I do want to unpack a couple of things that you talked about from your childhood. One is shame. I don't want to gloss over that word. I think, shame is something I've been thinking a lot about. Any of us who grew up feeling different for whatever reason, ethnicity, I wore a back brace, for me, I'm realizing, you get these layers of like, you're told you're different for different reasons and you internalize it. And then it does put up blocks for how you show up in the world. And then I also thought it was interesting that you were kind of drawn to helping others. So everything that you went out to do in the world was in service of other people, right? It's really interesting because it's like your own pain. It's like you want to heal yourself, but then also pay that forward. And I'm grateful to you for just being so transparent and honest about that. And I think, shame is not something we've actually talked about on the show, but I want to be covering it more because I do think that consciously or not, we are walking around, many of us, with this veil that does need some healing. And it sounds like breath work is one way to move through that. Is that true?
Yes. And thank you for all of that, because it is an important conversation, and not just for women. I mean, I see it so much with men as well, right? Yeah. Shame around money. I'm not successful enough, especially for men, right? Money, success. Right. There's so much stored in our system. And I like to say the issues are in our tissues.
Yes.
And the shame, all of the emotion, the guilt, whatever it is for people are stored in our tissue. And I think that's why I love breath work so much, is because talk therapy is awesome, and
yes.
I'm not ever downplaying that. However, it's often difficult to access.
Yes.
Where it's actually stuck. We can talk things through over and over and over. But until we get to feel, and I can't even say it'll be a specific feeling, but you'll know. There's like a knowing when something shifts inside. And you get that with breath work. It's like, oh my God, I don't know what it just happened, but that was powerful. And we can access emotions like shame, like fear, addiction, guilt, all sorts of grief, just by breathing. It's fascinating.
Jay, I bet there's a lot of people crying in your classes.
Oh my God.
A lot
if
of
they
tears.
Don't cry, there's a problem. No, just kidding.
Right? Well, that's the release. The tears are the release. I mean, we're always like, oh gosh, I'm crying, but that's a physical release. That's actually a healing part of our body system. It's amazing. So tell us about that. What's happening? What's moving through us? Like why? What is allowed to happen with that work that you do? Why does it run so deep?
Well, I've had people come to the class, for example, I haven't cried in 20 years. Number one, we're just too busy,
right.
We're trying to be successful, trying to take care of our kids, right? There's so much going on that we don't actually allow ourselves to even access those emotions, number one.
Yes.
And I think I look at it this way. I always say we're peeling back layers. Every time you do a breathwork session, peeling back another layer, maybe more than one, to get to the core of who we are. And as we talked about in the beginning, the core is we're actually meant to feel good. But we forget because there's so much crap. And so you're just like peeling back the layers. And that's why you get to the core of who you are. And I could cry talking about it, actually. I just did some breath work, so I'm super emotionally charged. But it's like, holy shit, I forgot. I just forgot. Like there's not only the grief and the sadness and all that stuff, but we cry because we're joyful and because there's so much gratitude.
Yes. It's the body's like, yes, thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
For tuning into me, remembering me, allowing me a voice, right? And that space to just feel and be within yourself, right?
Yes. And I'll be honest, I had a kind of rough couple of days falling into some old patterns again. And I just did some breathing before this podcast. And it was like, oh my God, it's like night and day, 20 minutes of just some sort of breathing and you completely shift your vibration. So for those looking for law of attraction, for those looking to bring in the results, the manifestation even, it's all about, feeling better. And I haven't found too many things that work like breath work.
What kind of breath work do you do? So I think we talked before the mics, and we were corresponding, setting up the interview. Yeah. So I had James Nestor who came on.
Yeah, I love this book.
Yes, his book is fantastic. Right. So and it's okay. I know your work isn't all about like the nasal breathing. That's sort of how we're maybe like our set point for day to day and when we sleep. Mm-hmm. Fine. And then I had Patrick McEwen, who does the Buteyko method. And it's just another form and also focuses on that. But I think any sort of opportunity to tune in with yourself, focus on your breath, however you do it, and then, is just an opportunity to open and heal. So how do you describe the breath work that you do? What are you trained in? Yeah.
I mean, I always say there's hundreds of styles of breath work and
totally.
Some of them are just,
So I didn't mean to interrupt. Who's the guy that Wim Hof? Everybody's into Wim Hof.
Iceman,
The Iceman. Yeah.
Thank God for all of these people paving way for, for different styles of breath
work. Has become very much at the forefront lately because of all these people's work. And you've been at this for decades, right?
Yeah, well, breathwork itself full time for 6 years.
6 years. Okay. This journey. Okay. Yes.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. So there's different styles, and there's only so many different ways we can breathe. Let's face it, right? Through the nose or through the mouth, through the belly, through the chest. We can do some breath holds, or we can keep it more fluid.
Yeah.
We can do some box breathing. I mean, a lot of them are just brand names. People have taken a style and just trademarked it. Right?
Sure, of course.
But really, it's all based on pranayama, which is the ancient art of breathing, essentially.
What does pranayama mean? Is that like the force of life? What does that mean?
Yes, to extend life.
Extend life.
Basically, prana is life, and yama is to extend. So essentially, that's a nice thought, right? Okay, might be extending my life as well. But also in Latin, breath is spiritum, which is really beautiful when you think about that. We're connecting to spirit. So, I teach a 3-part circular breath. And again, there's really no particular name. I mean, it can be similar to holotropic. It can be similar to some other styles, but it's in and out of the mouth, interestingly enough. However, for those nose breathers, for those yogis, you can also do it through the nose. It's not a problem.
Yeah.
But what I love so much is we breathe in the belly first. We're lying down flat. We usually do to music because that helps to take you on a journey. Breathing in the belly, in the chest, and out. So in the belly, chest, and out. It's a nice circular breath. And I've tried so many styles, and this resonates so much because it eventually your body begins to breathe itself. And it becomes this beautiful circular pattern. And what I love so much being really focused on chakras is it opens up the lower chakras from the solar plexus down, and the heart breath or the chest breath opens up and accesses those upper chakras. So that's why I love it. It pretty much cracks you open. If you're just doing belly, it's great, but it can be difficult to access sort of the upper energy points in your body.
Yeah, because don't you think? And so the throat is, I don't know, what chakra is this?
Yes, the throat chakra.
What? Okay, it's called the throat chakra. Okay, no, I'm just, I didn't know if it had like a number. So I'm not as familiar, but so I'm just thinking, I know we have a lot of blockages, right in their throat, the heart and the throat. Right?
A lot with women in particular too.
Yes, that's part of this show too, is to own your voice in the world. And
oh my goodness.
Right. So the throat chakra, this is your power and your ability to communicate. And there's so much to that. But if it's blocked or you're not accessing it, you're limiting your voice in some way. Right. So it's so healing probably to free up that energy in that space there.
Yes, and I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more about those energy points. But what I also love to, some other breathwork teachers love to do is let out some sound during sessions. Sometimes, can I swear on this podcast or no?
Go for it. I'll just mark it explicit. No, it's fine. As long as I let people know, that's fine. Yeah.
Well, sometimes it's a fuck you. I'm so angry at you. And sometimes it's just a yell or a, animalistic noise of some sort. Some people hum, some people laugh, but just literally uncorking. That's what I look at these chakras or energy points as corks. Uncorking, letting the energy flow through. So letting out sound during the breath work is such a great tool to access that. And
it reminds me of like when you're doing yoga practice or certain meditation practices, aren't there, there's like the Om or whatever, the holding the sound, the vibration, and the what are they called? Is it
chants?
Chants.
Or there's different chants for each chakra as well.
Yeah. There's something powerful. I mean, I know when I've done those kind of classes, you feel the vibration sort of moving through you. It's very powerful.
Oh yeah. And that's why I even recommend people take singing classes, even if you think you can't sing,
right?
Yeah, I was too. I want to get back to it.
We should talk about that off the interview. But yeah, that's super fun. And I did musical theater as a kid, and I cannot sing, but I like to write music. And
I bet you can sing.
No, and I've said that like those voice lessons were like therapy for me.
Yes,
it
sometimes
felt like
you
therapy.
Start to cry.
I didn't need to talk to somebody. 100%, you cry doing voice lessons and singing.
And guess what? It's because you're also breathing through your diaphragm, right? And really accessing air.
100%. And I've thought about that. It's true because it's all about breath work, especially if you're going to a really well-trained vocal coach, which I have. You have to have that breath support. This is so fun. So did you get certified in a particular style then? Because you said you went to a class. Okay. So that's the circular breath.
Yeah. Yeah. So what I did was I went to this class regularly for a bit, and then started to breathe at home almost every day. I always say that for 3 months, I literally did breath work every day.
Wow.
You can only imagine. I was exhausted. I was processing. There was just so much going on. But I'm that kind of guy,
Yeah.
Just do it, get it out of the way. Let's get rid of this stuff that I'm carrying. And then I studied with two different teachers. One wonderful teacher, J.P. Crimmy, here in LA. And then David Elliott as well, who's been teaching for years and years and years and years this style of breath.
Got it. Okay, that's so cool. Now, you said to me that you love to talk about how blockages due to stress and trauma, like we've been talking about, like the trauma you experienced as a child, and heavy emotions that affect our physical body and health, how that gets in the way of us living the life we desire. So, what is actually happening in the body, and so how can we use this breath work that you do to heal? Like, tell us more about the benefits and how it's all connected.
Yeah. Well, I've always loved this idea of body, mind, spirit, because everything is connected, right?
Yes.
We can't just do one without the other. So yes, we got to take care of our health. We got to take our superfoods. We got to exercise, get our rest. But there's that emotional and spiritual component, which can be sometimes difficult to access, especially if we're living in the physical world and we're so busy. So I liken these chakras, and I talk about the 7 main chakras or energy points, which there's many, many more. But
there's more than the 7. How many more?
There's so many, numerous. I mean, our hands, our feet. There's, I don't even know, actually. There's so many.
There's more than the 7 that we've seen or whatever on these colored, the charts with the colors that are associated.
Yes.
Okay.
But I love to I love to kind of normalize chakras or chakras.
How is it pronounced?
Well, chakras in Indian, I guess.
Yep.
But we all say chakras.
We do. Yeah.
Here.
Yeah.
But I have a friend from India, and she's always correcting me.
As she should. I get it.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But I really liken them or simplify them as corks. I love this because, if you think about a cork, right? If in the throat, for example, if there's a cork in it, well, there's not a lot of room for energy to come or go. Yeah. So if we can uncork, and I can talk about the 7 main ones again if you want.
Please, I would love it, actually. We covered this once on another episode, but just kind of briefly, and people loved it. So I think for sure my audience would love to know more about chakras and how it impacts energy and all of that. So please. Yeah,
for sure. Well, let's start. I always like to start at the base, which is our root chakra.
Yeah.
And that color is red. And that runs kind of from the lower spine all the way down.
Okay.
Right?
And what's the color, the meaning of the colors? How did that kind of, it's the color of it's the rainbow, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, indigo, right? I mean, it's.
Yeah, it pretty much is. It's
the spectrum of light. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm really going from earth, from being really almost practical, like red, earth, clay, rock, just that kind of solid formation, fire. Moving up through orange, which we can cover again, to yellow, to green, light blue. Purple is considered very spiritual, and that's our crown, which is connecting us to God, angels, guides, whatever it is for people.
Yes.
So I don't exactly know how the colors originated, but these have become the colors, right?
For sure.
Purple's a very spiritual color.
Yes.
But root is what I love about root is it's also about early programming. So most of us, I'm sure, especially if we're listening to these kind of podcasts, didn't get what we needed growing up, right? We didn't get the love. We didn't get the nurturing. A lot of us didn't get the support we needed. When we don't have that from an early age, it affects our root. And the root is really about grounding, safety, security, but it's also about money. It's about prosperity. It's about, allowing that in. And so there's a lot to do with the root chakra. It's a very practical chakra. We need to be grounded. We need to be stable as well as connecting. So the sacral is underneath the belly button into the lower back.
Yes.
Right? That is a really common one where we can hold guilt and shame.
This is the orange.
That's orange.
Yep. Guilt and shame. This is right. Our gut too, right? When we get that intuitive hit, this is the chakra that we're accessing.
That and the next one as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely all in that lower region. It's also, sexual trauma, really big, of course, with a lot of people, female and men.
Yes.
And that's all kind of stored in that area, which is the genitals. But it's also creativity. It's passion. It's life force energy. So imagine like the chi or the life force moving up your spine kind of can start in that area.
Yeah.
So there's the when it's blocked and then when it's open and flowing, there's both sides to it. The solar plexus right here under the ribs.
Okay. Right under the ribs. Is it kind of that opening between where you can feel like right between the ribs? Is it kind of right there?
Yeah. If you've ever gotten the wind knocked out of you.
Yeah. You get right.
Winded. That's the solar plexus. And that's about really self-empowerment, confidence, victim as well. But also personal power, warrior energy.
Warrior.
But it's also where you get that anxiety a lot of times where you feel that gut feeling, right?
This is yellow.
Yes, that's the yellow.
Okay.
And I have we'll talk about these later, but those are the colors essentially, right?
Yeah.
We have right here.
Yeah.
We move up to the green, which is, of course, beautiful heart, unconditional love, but not just giving, also learning to receive. So the flow in and out, if you think about it, it's about forgiveness. It's about empathy, compassion. I couldn't realize for years and years why I couldn't feel empathy for people. It sounds crazy, right? Because I was a friendly, nice, kind person, but there was blockages to the energy, to my heart. And so when we open that up, we begin to feel so much more deeply, not just for us, but for the world, for others.
Yes.
Of course, heartache, disappointment, sometimes depression can even sit here.
Yes.
And then we talked about the throat chakra. So that's really wonderful when it's open and flowing because we're powerful. We have a message we want to share with the world in our writing, in our singing, in our speaking, in our social media, right? But when it's closed and blocked, there's sort of lack of boundaries, which I see a lot in relationships, right? Not asking for what you need because you're afraid.
Interesting.
So all of that can happen as well. And not being kind with your words. I mean, there's so much to this, right?
Yeah. And the next one
third eye, as my comedian friend says, better than Botox.
Between the two eyebrows.
Between the brows. Yeah.
Between the brows.
It's really about clarity.
Better than Botox. That's funny. Okay.
Yeah. Who needs Botox?
Yeah.
It's about clarity and insight and being able to foresee where you're going in your life, receiving psychic messages, and vision. A lot of people are very visual, so that's a great one for people who are visual to access visions of their life. And then the crown kind of runs from the top of the head upward.
Okay.
And that's connecting you that's the purple, connecting you to God, angels, guides, goddess energy, higher power, whatever it is, ancestors. Just learning to open up and receive guidance, intuitive guidance as well from that. So it's so interesting. It's like an operating system in the body. And the other part of it, though, is there's I won't say warning sign. There's little signposts along the way. If we're able to listen, we can catch it early. So any health issues we have, any pains, any little my left knee is sore today. There's no accidents. Really, I believe strongly that has to do with your root chakra. So let's look at that. Let's see why is my lower back sore or my foot, or wow, I have a migraine or something going on. Up here, sinus, teeth, every part of the body represents an aspect of a chakra. And so, it's kind of very practical. It's they're like little guideposts for us to look at.
And what do we do? You get the headache or the foot pain or the backache or whatever. What would we do if we did pay attention to those pains versus just try to take some Advil or brush it off?
Right. Well, I'm big on processing in many different ways. Breath work itself, obviously, once you learn this, you could do it at home yourself and literally laying down and just setting an intention around, okay, show me what's going on around this, give me some clarity, some guidance.
Yeah.
Lay down and breathe. And people would be so amazed how things can drop in quickly, and often it's it could have to do with something physical, like, those candles you're burning are, causing your migraine, or you're holding on to, something from family. Migraines run in the family. Oh, do they? Or is it just me continuing this pattern? So there's a lot of things that drop in, a lot of insight. So I would say that, and then, I work with clients around energy clearing and other forms with the breath work. So we could easily go in, put a shape, an image to the migraine, for example, talk to it, have conversations, and get answers, and ask if it's ready to be cleared. And, it might sound all crazy and hokey, but it's so powerful. Well, you've done this work. It doesn't. Yeah.
I'm open.
It's just energy.
I know that, when we actually tune into our higher knowing and allow that dialogue, you're doing it through breath and conscious, connection to the body and what's happening. There's such clarity, and the answers are within, and the healing, can happen within. Do we need, I once, and I think I shared this on another interview with somebody when we were talking about chakras, but I got trained in Reiki when I was 31 or something like that. It was level 1 Reiki. I never really have used it, sometimes on myself. But I remember the teacher being like, your chakras are so cloudy. And, I was like, what? I'm very empathetic. She's like, you take on too much of other people's stuff. I'm like, yeah, tell me something I don't know. But that doesn't help if I don't know. Like, do you clear, should I clear my chakras? Should people be clearing their chakras every day? How do we know if they're clogged? Like you talked about the cork. Is this like a daily practice, or is this just, is there something simple we can do to keep, because do we want our chakras open, or is there a time where you actually want it closed? And if so, how do we unblock them if we do need them open?
I mean, in my opinion, I think it's always good to have them balanced and open and flowing. It actually means disc. So if we think of a disc spinning clockwise, that's essentially what happens when a chakra is nice and balanced and open. Okay. It can be hyperactive. It can be underactive. It could go backwards. It could just be muffled and stopped.
Yes.
So in my opinion, having nice energy flow clockwise through each chakra is a wonderful thing. But stress, foods, lots of things can muffle our chakras. So we're never going to be fully open all the time. One great thing people can do is use a pendulum.
Okay.
You can even do it on yourself if you're lying down.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have it handy, but for those who don't, you just hang on to it. And you can literally put it over your chakra. So your heart, for example, or have someone else do it, and just see what happens. If it starts to spin clockwise, it's a good sign that your heart is nice and open. I've used this with Reiki as well. It's a good sign before a session to see what's going on.
Yeah.
Sometimes it'll go backwards or just back and forth a little bit, or just stay still.
Yeah. Is there a way you can kind of tap on them or something to open them, or just bring conscious energy, tap and say, I'm
absolutely
inviting openness. I don't know. I'm just.
Yeah. No, it's funny you say that, because I do actually bring tapping. I mean, I've also studied EFT, or emotional frequency technique. Freedom technique. Sorry.
Yes.
And so I often will just have people tap on any areas where they're feeling restriction, anxiety, blocked. And that also can help. I mean, there's so many different things.
And do you just breathe in when you do it, Jay? I didn't mean to interrupt you, but would you just tap and breathe, just consciously with the intention of opening that chakra?
Yeah, if I were suggesting to people, I would do this 3-part breath that I'm sharing, lay down. And while you're doing it, just do the breath for a little bit and just notice what's going on. Or most people know. They're like, yeah, I'm pretty sure my crown is because I have headaches and I have ear issues. And so a lot of people already know what's going on.
Got it. So the pain is a clue. So also, where are you having most of the pain? So maybe the blockages are aligned nearby, right? So to those chakras that are close by. So if you're getting chest pain, maybe it's your heart or your solar plex area.
Exactly. And, thyroid is super common, especially with women. And I really think there's no coincidence that, yes, there's a lot of environmental and other factors, but it's no coincidence that a lot of women also don't feel empowered in the throat. And so, all we can do is look at that and be open and do our best to balance and open. So that's a great example of things you can do while you're doing this breath. Of course, I created the ChakraBalms, which is all essential oils. If you're into essential oils and, plants, bringing in sort of the power of plants, applying them to your favorite oils, to some of the chakras.
Yeah, that's what your ChakraBalms are, that you held it up, but people who are listening aren't going to have seen it, but it's the colors associated with each of the chakras, right? The red, orange, you showed me the palette, and those are essential oils in a little balm.
Yes, each balm has about 100 to 120 drops of 4 to 5 or 6 blends of oil. So each one is different.
Cream, or is it an actual oil?
It's an actual balm. It has
balm. It's a balm.
Yes, it's a balm. You just rub your finger on it and apply it.
I bet they smell nice.
Yeah, they are amazing. I'm proud of them, and they really do, as I say, ignite the chakras. And partly it's the intention, right? Intention is powerful. So if you know that you're applying them and you're really intending to feel something, you will.
Yeah.
There's different ways to access these energy points. Journaling, talking to them, conversations.
Let's talk about that, because we talk about journaling on the show. Can you take us through, like, what would that look like? What would an exercise look like with journaling with the chakras?
Yeah. I mean, I love letters. I love letters to your inner child. I love letters to your parents, to, anyone and everything, even to your body. And so a letter, if you know what's going on, say your heart, write a letter to your heart. Dear heart, just free flow as much as you can. You are so blocked. I'm feeling it. I know I know you have pain, and I know life has been difficult, or whatever comes to mind. Right.
Yeah.
I would write a letter to that energy point.
Yeah. Are you inviting it to just speak?
Exactly. And then I would write a letter back. Once you
from the heart. First, you're writing to the heart. You're acknowledging it. You're saying, I can feel your pain, whatever's going on, or like whatever breakup or something might have happened or loss, right? I know you're grieving right now, or you have a lot of pain. And then you have the heart right back. Yeah.
Dear Michele, thank you. Thank you for listening. I am in a lot of pain. Whatever this heart has to say to you, maybe it'll give you some suggestions around, working through it.
Right. What do you need right now?
What do you need? Yeah.
Right. What do you want me to know? What, stuff like that. Right.
Exactly. Yep. Just deepening your awareness. And, I always say, once we're aware of something, it really doesn't have any control over us. Once we're conscious.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about breathwork as well. It gets you really conscious. You get downloads all the time. Some people visually, some people, a message or words, call so-and-so. Just today, I'm working on a show idea, and I got a message to reach out to a Canadian production company. I'm originally Canadian, but I'm in the US. So, everything that drops in, there's a reason. Right. We don't always understand what it is.
Pay attention.
Listen. Exactly. And just, trust that it will come through.
Yeah.
So what I know for sure is we're meant to feel good. I know it can be hard to believe, because most of us have struggled a lot, and we continue to, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's interesting. So knowing I was going to interview you, you do a weekly class, and you also have a free class that I downloaded from your website, and I did one of the free ones. And there was some sound, like being able to like exhale loudly, just to make noise and whatever. And I felt a huge release. Tears for sure came, and I just felt so good. And it's such a gift to be able to give your mind, body, and spirit that time to connect with breath. I know for me, I feel like I'm being called to do more breath work. We had dialogued before, wearing a back brace and having literally your body constricted to such a degree that I could barely get in like a slight little, I could barely breathe 23 hours out of the day for 5.5 years. I mean, it did its job in terms of containing the curves. I still have moderate scoliosis. It doesn't cure it. It just prevents it from, becoming bad, which I'm grateful for. But, you wonder, for anyone listening, whatever physical trauma, emotional trauma, whatever that might be locked in there, it's just an opportunity and an invitation to honor your body through breath, which is pranayama. Is that what you said? Pranayama?
Yeah.
Life force.
Life force.
I mean, it doesn't get more basic than that.
Let me ask you, if I might, around breathwork practice, do you still find it difficult to expand?
100%. Well, because I was, my body, the brace, imagine like a corset probably in those days, you see those women's bodies were kind of deformed, right? It was like made like an indent. It had to be so tight that I find when singing or doing, what's the pose? I'm not big into yoga, although I do like it when I do it. Is it the pose where you put your arms out and you kind of breathe into your back? Babies?
Is it baby? Yeah, I'm not a yogi either.
Anyway, there's a pose in it, but basically you're breathing into, it really opens up your
child's
back.
Pose, perhaps.
Child's pose. I said baby.
Yeah.
It is child's pose. That's exactly what I was trying to remember. And there's literally congestion in there, full on congestion. Like, it's not like, sorry, I'm talking people's ears here, like, but it's a sense of congestion that I can feel. And there's also like, my body always goes, thank you. Like, it needs more of that. So for sure. Yeah. It's completely, it needs more expansion.
Yeah. So, you literally laying down and breathing is enough. And you will, again, you'll just begin to release and open up each time. Now, if I were working with you, for example, we'd probably go in and have conversations, and look for the energy that might be still there.
Yeah.
Holding that together and tight. Perhaps cords. I love the cord cutting techniques because we're all energetically connected to family, to ex-lovers, especially around the sacral. Think of all the lovers, right? The energy we've taken on. So there's a lot of work we can do around energy clearing too. And there's so many great things we can bring in with breath work. But I always say breathing alone really is enough. It's amazing.
Right.
We don't even have to know what's going on because our body.
You don't need to know the story. It's going to happen.
No. Yeah. The body wants to heal.
Yes, it does. And when you do this breath work on a regular basis, I imagine that's useful, right? You can tell us what that looks like.
Yeah.
We talked in the beginning about your mission is to reconnect people with their inner power and purpose. Do you find that people then can start attracting the right relationships and business opportunities and just more clarity so that they're more aligned with the direction they can go in and more confidently move that way without as much of the self-doubt that would normally take over? Just tell us the benefits. That's my assumption, but I don't like to assume. I like to, what would you say, Jay?
No, for sure. I've heard wonderful testimonials from people. And, when I think about some of the people I've worked with, they're the biggest thing I love to work on is self-love, self-forgiveness, and self-empowerment, because that's been my biggest struggle, right? We teach what we most need to learn and 100%. What we've been through.
Yeah.
And so I see people stepping up in their life, shifting their energy permanently, really, changing things, beginning to take more action, beginning to feel better physically, and in turn, attracting relationships. There's so many different stories, but yes, also law of attraction. If we look at that again, attracting what we want, we're all frustrated with it, right? Because we envision the car, we envision the relationship, it's not showing up. I mean, I think the key to that is just learning to feel good. And most of us, feel good for a bit, and then so breath work just helps you to feel better. It raises your vibration, right? And that's, I think, the key to attracting what we want is just feeling better for a longer period.
Yeah. And you talked about that exact word in the very beginning of the interview. You said this is really about getting that vibration up and feeling good because that's our birthright. That's where we're supposed to be. You have a 3-part breath work that you teach. We're not going to do a breathing exercise because you were telling me it takes to do the practice. It's like a 30-minute practice. So it's something that somebody would need to do. But you have a freebie on your website I can direct people to if they want to try this.
Oh, I do. Yeah. I would love for people to try it. And it's breatheonit.net/subscribe. And if you do that, you will receive a nice audio download of a class. And I also combine it with Ho'oponopono, which is a really beautiful practice that I love. It's a Hawaiian forgiveness practice.
Can you say what the word is again? I've heard this recently. I don't know what it is, though. What is it called in Hawaiian?
Ho'oponopono. I'll have to spell it for you.
No, I'm going to.
Yeah, it's HO'. Hoponopono.
And what is that?
It's a Hawaiian forgiveness practice, essentially, that was used with families originally in Hawaii to help mend hurt and disagreement. And it's 4 phrases that I love to bring in after breathwork, because once you do breathwork, your heart is really, really open and you can receive a lot more. And so I have people direct Ho'oponopono to themselves, sometimes to mom and dad, other people in their life. And it's 4 simple phrases. And the phrases are, I love you. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. And thank you. So we can extend that by, I love you so much, Jay. I'll have people use their name. And I'm so sorry I've been so hard on you. I'm so sorry that I'm judging you, right? All these things. I'm sorry that life has been so difficult. Please forgive me for not being there for you. Please forgive me for not loving you more. And thank you. Thank you for, getting up every day and doing it again. Thank you for being so loving. And when we talk to ourselves and then also send it to others, it's a powerful, it's like we're cleaning all the heavy energy little by little.
So beautiful. And I love the idea of sending it to others as well, because when we can forgive ourselves, oftentimes that is like a big part of the equation, self-forgiveness, releasing the shame. And how beautiful. Thank you.
You're welcome. And
right? No, note, just on the Ho'opono, the thank you.
Oh, thank you. You're welcome.
But yes, thank you. Yes, thank you, Jay. I love you too. Yeah.
Yeah. And when we direct it to other people, I can't tell you how many times people would leave a session. They'll check their phone and, the daughter that hadn't messaged in 4 years texts them, or the mom, right, who had a strained relationship will call during the session. I'm not even kidding.
Oh, so people, you don't have to convince me. The energetic connection, we are all one. That we're in a very divided time in this country. I don't know how it is internationally, but for sure we know in the United States right now, the division is palpable. And it pains me as an empath and somebody who's highly sensitive to see, the disconnect of family and all, the closest of relationships that I'm hearing about. I mean, I'm very grateful that my family is so close and able to communicate, but gosh, have I heard so many situations where that is not the case. Yeah. And what a beautiful exercise to be able to do to bring more unity, because that's really what, we are born to feel good. We have these beautiful bodies that we need to honor and take care of. This breath work is an invitation to listen, to heal, to open, to raise the vibration. So we're bringing in more good, not just for ourselves, but then to bring that back out into the world.
Yes. And Michele, with that, like people can send Ho'oponopono to, we talked about the throat, right? Or the heart. Yes. You can literally have conversations just saying, like, think about your body, right? I love you. Like, I love you so much. And I'm sorry I mistreated you. I'm sorry I haven't been listening. And if we have that conversation just with those 4 phrases, it's super powerful.
It's so beautiful. Well, you gave us the website. Is there anything before we wrap up today, Jay, though, that you want to add?
I don't think so. I always love to just say that that there's hope out there. I know people, have tried everything to feel better. And that's the people I work with often is like, they've tried everything, man. They've done it all, right? They're successful, and they have certain things, but there's still so much missing. And I feel that, like, don't give up. Just keep searching, keep trying, keep saying yes. And I believe people will be shown to whatever modality or whatever they need to help them.
It's beautiful. I've so appreciated your time today in this conversation. It's really it's so helpful. And I'm just grateful to you. Thank you. I'll say thank you.
Thank you.
From the hope, I'll give you the yes. So let's direct people again to where you are online. Give us all your handles that people can follow you on.
Yeah. So the website is breatheonit.net, and that's BREATHEONIT.net. I have ChakraBalms.com if you want to check out the product. Chakra BALMS. And then Instagram is where I hang out more than anything, and it's Breathe On It with Jay, Jay. And that's the Facebook as well.
Awesome. All of that will be in the show notes for anyone who wants to just find it easily on my website at thegoodlifecoach.com. Jay, this has been such a pleasure. I'm going to definitely be in touch with you about doing some work. I just think this is where it's at for me personally, and for anyone who is resonating with this. Just explore just some breath work, or take a class, take Jay's free class, and just see how it feels. So thank you, Jay.
You're so welcome. Thank you so much, Michele. Thanks, everyone.
I hope you enjoyed today's conversation with Jay Bradley. I loved it. I think breath work is powerful. It's fascinating. It's something I'm diving deeper into. As Jay mentioned, he has a free training on his website that you can access, and I'll link that up in the show notes on my website at thegoodlifecoach.com/149. If you scroll down to resources, you will see the link so you can easily access it, or you can just go to breatheonit.net/subscribe. And Jay is also offering $100 off your first breathwork healing session with him if you choose to do one. I'm not an affiliate. It's just an offer he wanted to put out to my audience. And I actually ended up doing a session myself with Jay, a one-on-one, and it was fantastic and so deeply healing. So if you're curious about it, both of those links can be found at thegoodlifecoach.com/149 under resources. Be sure to share today's interview with a friend if you think they would get benefit out of it. And if you have yet to rate and review the show, please take a minute to do so on Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast player. I know Apple Podcasts doesn't make it easy. Many of you have said to me, I've been really wanting to leave you a review, but I can't figure it out. And I'm sorry that they've made it hard for you. And I do deeply appreciate that you've made the effort. If you are on the app, you just basically open it up. And if you scroll down, you'll see ratings and review. And in very tiny letters with a link, you'll see write a review. And when you click on that, you'll see stars, and you can just put in the number of stars, and then you write a review there and submit, and then it posts within like a day or two. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and I look forward to reconnecting with you next Wednesday. Bye for now.